Good morning, welcome back to the Carter James Ranch. We're here at the herd this morning getting their water filled up. Made the comment before, I'm amazed how much water they drink when they're eating hay. But it does make sense, all the dry matter. Just one thing, being a first year rancher, didn't anticipate the amount of water, so always important to give them access to it. So we have a beautiful day here, sun shining, gonna get up to about the mid 40s. I'll take that for the first week of January. So today I wanted to talk about why we buy open cows. It's not something I'll always want to do. A lot of people say in a cow-calf operation, that's your biggest cost, is open cattle, meaning a cow is not pregnant. And so she's not going to give you a calf. She's going to skip a year. So that's going to be a year where you're going to be feeding her. She's going to be eating your forage. You may have to give her medicine, antibiotics, care for her. Might have some hoof trimming. You never know what might come up with some of these animals. So, and also you'll be having to feed them hay throughout the winter. So there's definitely a real cost to all of that. So why we do it, the main reason for me is, you know, if you've been watching the channel, we just got some of these heifers, some of these registered heifers, and they're young, and typically what I've observed is you normally have to pay a little bit more for the younger animals just because they have a many more productive years in front of them. Well, what I've observed is, you know, you never know if any of these are going to be open. You don't know if they have issues becoming pregnant. So by buying an open cow, they've obviously already produced a calf. So you don't have to deal with that from a heifer standpoint. You can have issues with heifers when they go to deliver their first calf. Do they have calving issues? Are they not very good mothers? Typically with open cows, you already know if they have been good moms in the past. But the main reason for us is just wanted to scale up the herd quicker. Just want to scale up the herd quicker as opposed to buying a whole bunch of young animals and then having to wait, you know, for them to get to breeding age, and then you have to get them bred, and then you have to wait another 9 months for them to produce a calf. So this way we have young animals, young heifers. We've got some middle-aged. I don't want to buy old open cows. The oldest one we have is 9 years old. You know, I wouldn't want to buy something that's, you know, 12 years, 13 years old, unless you're getting it for dirt cheap, and after they produce one calf, you've already recouped all your money. But that's our main reason for buying open cows, just to get the herd size up. You know, once you have the ability to scale up and you have a good size herd, that means if you can get them bred, then you are going to produce more calves. Now you always run the risk of, you know, do they have something wrong with them and they're open and they're always going to be open? Well, then you have to make a different decision, whether you're going to try to sell that animal or you're going to turn it into a beef animal or what. So that's our main reason for buying open cows. It's a little bit of a gamble, but for me, being new, I think they have had calves in the past, so if we can get them bred, the theory is they should know what to do once they have a calf. So we have a good mix. We have young animals, we've got heifers, we have young cows, and we have some middle-aged cows. So I think it's always important to pay attention to the age of your herd. You don't want to have a herd that's all old. So having a little bit of a mix is not necessarily a bad thing. Hey, one other thing I want to talk about in this video as I go to shut the water off here. I'm going to show you the aftermath when we had that Arctic blast come through right before Christmas. We had to pen the cattle up over here in the pen, and we gave them access to the stable. I was going to make this 2 videos. Sorry, sometimes it's hard to shut this spigot off. I was going to make this 2 videos, but since I'm right here, might as well just make it 1. So we had them penned up here for, I think, 3 days. 35 head, 3 days. This is why, even though it's a lot more work in the wintertime, I want to continue to move the animals around. So we just had a rain the other day. So you can see here, this is all muddy. I tried to put a lot of hay down in this corner. There tends to be a lot of runoff when we have moisture, snow melting, or rain. But just look at all the manure in 3 days that got distributed out here. Now, we had 2 bales of hay put in here. Now, they were in here for 3 days, and then in early December, when we had those new heifers and Comanche delivered, they hung out in here for 3 or 4 days as well. But this is 3 days. Could you imagine what this would look like if they were penned up here for the whole winter? Which I understand why some people do that. They call that dry lotting, or putting them in a dry lot. But typically those lots don't stay very dry. I understand why people do it. It's a lot easier to feed them. You know, I even used this alleyway here and unrolled the bale of hay in here just to spread them out. I was feeling bad for them that they were stuck in all their own excrement for those few days. Now, on the other hand, they were stuck in it, but everything was frozen because it was so dang cold. But look at the fertilization that we've put down in here. I'll be real curious to see here in the spring, summertime. Once we warm up, get some rain, this stuff starts to break down, what kind of grass we're going to get in here. I always do, whenever I'm rotating the animals, I always do rotate them right through the corral just to knock it down. You don't use your corral and your head chute all the time. So this can get out of hand if you don't use it for a few months in the growing season. So, but that's the aftermath. Just a couple days. I'll need to come in here with a rake, maybe spread out some of this hay. This is right where a bale was. You can still see it's pretty thick. You can see the indentations right there. Cattle like to lay down in it, keeps them warm. Over here in the stable, we had a lot of remnant of ragweed that had grown up. If you've seen any of the past videos when I was getting ready for the cattle to move in here, you could see how tall this was, but the cattle just really knocked this down. So that hoof action is really good for knocking weeds down, knocking dead plants down, especially the undesirables. So just very interesting how all this stuff works together. So this is why we keep moving them around. So thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great day.